Oh yeah, is my fucking setup decided to pull its head out of its ass? Okay, well, I guess we'll start from scratch. Alright, well, I don't usually do this style of content, but we're gonna be reacting to Charlie talking about a situation. Unfortunately, my stream crashed, but I'm gonna give a brief summary simply because it's the start of the stream again, technically. In YouTube's eyes. Talking about his situation with him supposedly leaving YouTube for whatever reason, but he technically didn't. It was just a bunch of drama crap. And then we'll swing over to DrDisrespect's Twitter, and we're gonna look at some comments and do a nice little half of everything and see how it, plays out. I'm just not gonna be able to stream today. Like, what's going on here? How is the internet this fucking bad? We only pay like a lot of money for it. So you're gonna play nice, pal? Looks like it's playing nice for right now. Get these videos over with.
Heavens to Betsy, what a week, huh, sports fans? Holy Toledo. Yeah, so MoistCr1TiKaL's in a big oopsie poopsie situation here. It reminds me of the time in Moonfall when KC Houseman sacrifices himself and dies of cringe to become the moon. Yeah, so, being serious now, since this has become such a big issue, I've been in a lot of drama recently. I'm in hot water, and I'm biting on the fart bubbles that pop up in the bathtub here.
Such
It
a
is
nasty
a
analogy.
lot. So let's start with the most recent one today. My retirement. I didn't know I was retiring. That's news to me. I'm as shocked as all of you are. I had a ton of fun last night playing a game called Clickleding, which is basically like a cuckoldry simulator, but for clicking against like the Lorax in a hotel room.
How do you
And I
find
just did
these
like an old
games?
school gameplay commentary video.
How do you find these
I was
games?
bubbly, full of jubilation. I posted it today only to learn that I'm just a big old fucking liar. Liar, liar, plants for hire, I suppose. Apparently, and I didn't know this until I posted the video, everyone was under the impression that I was quitting the internet. So I started scratching at the hair on my chinny chin, wondering, when the fuck did that happen? Was I sleepwalking? Do I have somnambulism? Is this some kind of like, Fight Club situation? But
Come on with this.
I posted the video.
I just had to make sure the audio was coming
Instead of
through
like
good now.
Tyler Durden, I have fucking Charles Turden here that's just making wrong announcements. It turns out the patient zero behind all of this was a post Jackson made announcing that I would be leaving the podcasts, which is something I thought about periodically for quite a few months now, mainly because I started to recognize that I was becoming the very thing I'd make fun of with being online. Like, I just was always online, and the podcasts were a big proponent of that, and I just kind of wanted to scale back the amount of time I spend online, so, and I kept Jackson in the loop the whole time here about where my head was at, and last week I told him, hey man, I think this is going to be where I hang up the jersey, you can put it in the rafters, throw it in the dumpster, but I think I'm just going to be, sailing.
Thing. Typically, I'm just not going to do it.
It doesn't extend beyond that. I can't even wrap my tiny noodle around how anyone could perceive this as me being done with the internet entirely, but that's the story that they ran with, and that's what most people...
Well, unfortunately, you published something on the internet. Well, let me rephrase that. You told somebody something, they published it on the internet, and the internet took it and ran with it. Typically what happens in these situations, they just take it and run, and they don't really stop and ask, maybe we should wait. Because they have mob mentality. They're just gonna, mob mentality.
People saw, not the actual post. So everyone thought I was quitting the internet, so I posted that video that I was really happy with because it just felt like an OG old school video that made me happy. And then bang! Just a flood of comments and dislikes all saying shit like, how could you fucking deceive us? I thought you quit, huh? What happened to leaving, huh? I just read this post on Twitter from an account that had a profile pic of titties photoshopped onto Thomas Edison that said you were done, and it had 50,000 likes, so I know it was true, and you're just a fucking liar. I can't even just pee peacefully walk away from some projects without it being a massive fucking reaction over actual nothing burger information. And trust me, no one has a palate more refined for nothing burgers than me. I have ranted about the stupidest shit of all time, but this was mind-boggling even for me. So to set the record straight, no, I'm not retiring, despite what the experts are telling you. All I did was walk away from a couple of projects. Like, that's really it. Like, that's a pretty normal thing, especially when one of them I've been doing for like 8 years. I really didn't think it was that deep, especially not.
I mean, Jesus Christ, 8 years is quite a long time to be doing anything. 8 years isn't just.
In covering the Ava Tyson situation, I was attacked by a lot of people for not being quick enough. Even though I covered it within like the first 6 hours, people were unsatisfied that I hadn't made a video within like the first fucking 20 minutes of it dropping. And then when I did finally finish the full video covering all of it, it was another massive problem where now I only did it out of an obligation because people called me out, and then I also got accused.
I noticed that a lot with Ava Tyson's, especially. A lot of people that, like, it's the same amount of time. It's the same amount. I literally reacted to it the same amount of time everyone else did. It doesn't make any sense why, like, Asman was attacked as well. It's like, oh, well, you aren't reacting to it in a fast enough fashion. It's the same amount. They reacted to it the same amount of time that DrDisrespect took his hiatus, or supposed hiatus. So, like, what are you guys talking about? What are you on about? Like, they'll get to it when they get to it. I mean, they have lives outside of just the drama. They have their own things they have to take care of. It's not always going to be about that. It's just not.
Of being a
you guys expect them to just drop everything at a moment's notice and go running to the computer and turn it on and just react to it. It's just not going to happen that way. I'm sorry. Like, you know, there's nothing worse than taking a dump and then you're getting shit on top of shitting on all these social media platforms because you just didn't automatically do it. Like, sorry, but, you know, there's this thing outside of YouTube that's called a life. And, you know, they may have been living it. They may be busy. They may be waiting for the dust to settle with a lot of these accusations for actual proof. Like, it's not wrong to wait and see. I mean, that's what people who watch storms do. They have to wait and see. It's not just going to happen overnight, you know?
Transphobe because I didn't use Ava Tyson's preferred pronouns, which were she, her. I didn't know that. I thought by her name was okay, and I had also heard when I went to the Mr. Beast thing, someone refer to Ava Tyson with they. So I was truly under the impression that that was okay. And for that, I was annihilated by a good chunk of Twitter. And then annihilated by another good chunk of Twitter because I called out Sneeko, who was the main proponent about me covering for Mr. Beast to keep the collab alive. I wasn't talking about Ava Tyson because I wanted the Mr. Beast collab. And I talked about how absurd that statement was, especially given his history with fighting against the age of consent. He's been very vocal about how much he hates the age of consent, and so I talked about that briefly at the end of the video, which then changed the whole narrative for a lot of people where I never talked about Ava Tyson and only talked about Sneeko. So it was a complete lose-lose, because if I didn't talk about what Sneeko was saying, I would have been called a coward for not addressing it and talking about, like, well, he was going to cover for Mr. Beast until Sneeko called him out. So.
Oh my god, even the fucking thing is buffering, dude. What is going on with this fucking internet, bro? Hold on. Ah, that's funny. Da-da-da-da. Hey, howdy, Naaman. What's up? We're just taking out the trash. What's going on with this damn internet? Okay, looks like it's bounced back finally. Hey, the Legend 27, I'm just gonna keep removing your comments because you're being a jackass in chat, so I hate to break it to you, buddy, but this is my space, not yours, so in fact, can we just remove you all together? There we go. Now even if you comment, you won't even have the no one else will see it. We're gonna keep letting this here play.
Like, if I didn't do it, I would have been attacked. I did do it, still got attacked. It really was unwinnable. But from that spawned a conversation where I talked to Sneeko directly, because he was very upset that I was talking about how him rallying against the age of consent is pedophile arguments, like defending pedophilia. As I've said since the very beginning of this channel, I'm always willing to engage with people I disagree with, and I thought that maybe there was a chance I misunderstood what he was trying to say, even though it's still abhorrent. I thought, okay, maybe he's not actually trying.
I really do. It's like the perfect number. I do feel like they need to bring some things down to the age of consent, but that's, I mean, you can get drafted in the military and go fight and, you know, harm people, but you can't drink. What sense does that make? I feel like some things need to come down to the age of consent, but I do feel like the age of consent being 18 is like a genuine kind of a perfect number, because you're not too young and you're obviously not, you know, an adult living at home with mommy and daddy.
15 or 16-year-old, because you get your permit at 15, your license at 16, and both are way too young to be marrying. That shit is completely unacceptable. It is downright disgusting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Discuss it in a call, which I said I was willing to hear him out on, and he said that he would do it later because he was outside doing an IRL stream in Turkey. So I was willing to hear him out, because again, if this is some kind of crazy misunderstanding, I'd like to know that, because it'd be really fucking scary for someone in his position with his level of influence,
it'd be terrifying,
to be actually advocating for adults
might be another doc.
fucking children. That's a huge problem. That's a big fucking problem. So if there was something that he was like trying to say but failing to do so, I was willing to at least hear it. And this is where the infamous debate came from, the debate that people are calling the debate of the century. I'm kidding, not a single soul on the planet said that. It's actually one of the most dogshit debates I think human beings have ever had. He eventually called me on Discord. I was under the impression this was just him and I talking. I had no idea this was going to be a debate. I thought he was going to try and explain himself like,
you know, that's fucked
this isn't actually what I meant.
That's fucked up. So Charlie had the intention of it just being a normal, you know, debate. I'm not gonna watch 24 minutes of this. Holy shit. That it was just gonna be them talking. That it wasn't gonna be live, but I guess apparently Sneeko had other intentions. Called him live. Did allow Charlie to record it, but it ended up making Charlie look like the bad guy because he just wasn't prepared to do a debate. He wasn't prepared for the questions that were going to be asked. Now, like, what I don't understand is, I mean, personally, from what I've seen, I would have been probably would have asked questions, see if he had actually stopped streaming, because it's just wrong to do that to somebody. It's wrong to bring somebody onto a podcast without their knowledge. I personally kind of think that kind of stuff should get someone banned on any social media platform, because in a way, it opens them up for pretty much being broadsided with questions that they're just not ready to answer. I mean, anytime you see a president go on stage and talk about anything, they already genuinely know what they're going to be asked. So they have a general idea, or they have a kind of like a statement, but not really, but it's more like a list of things that could be asked to them. So they have like a genuine idea of what the hell's going to be going on. So it's just kind of crazy that, I mean, props to Charlie for getting on and sticking to his guns, but again, that's just wrong. Why would you do that? That's so wrong.
This is what I'm trying to say. I thought this was a conversation between him and I, not this kind of debate show that he was putting on for his audience. There is nothing in our DMs that indicated that's where it was going. When I joined the call, he asked if I was going to record it, to which I said, I can if he wants me to, but I was also down to just talk. So I thought maybe he wanted it as a recording to, like, explain to people, like, no, he's not actually a pedophile defender or advocating for that kind of thing. So I thought that is why he asked. I didn't know it was because it was being streamed. Especially because one of his last DMs was about how he's doing an outside IRL stream and he would call me after. To me, that says when he's done streaming, that's when we'll talk.